There it is in all of its glory, baby.
Yeah. There we go. So we're just gonna go over our plays for this week. Um, UFC only. Dominic wouldn't let me put my Bellator picks on here.
This is not true.
No, it's not true at all. But he was like, "Oh, it won't fit on the graphic," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Fine." I was like, "I'm not talking about it then." And he only put the UFC poster up there because he's a UFC homer. Dude doesn't even watch
I'm
Bellator.
just used to what we've been doing. Anyway.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you guys don't want to see my Bellator picks because they ain't gonna hit. They're not gonna hit at all. They're just not. I'm just
Noah's going for the fucking Grand Slam this weekend.
I told Dom, I said, I'm just trying to win back some money on Wall Street.
Yeah, that's the mindset.
So let's stick with the UFC, right? We got our plays up here, Dominic. I want you to start out of all your singles. So we'll start with the singles. We'll go to the parlays later.
Yeah.
Which single is your like lock? This is my most confident play of the week.
Oh, most confident play of the week. I think I'm going Nick Maximov. So this was an interesting single for me because it's kind of like a single, but it's a same fight parlay essentially
Yeah,
is what it is.
right.
Through DraftKings, by the way, these are all through DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out to you guys if you want to, sponsor the Joes. Anyway, so Nick Maximov to win, plus the fight has to go over a round and a half. It came in at -175. For those that haven't watched our betting show that's now just being put in here as a segment, our below average bets, essentially, if you haven't watched before, especially for guys like Maximov, he's a -380 on the money line, right? So I'm always trying to find ways, especially for the big favorites, how can I get that as close to even money as I can, get more value for my dollar? So to have this at -175, I feel very confident. He's a guy that is a decision machine in the UFC. He's not the most fan-friendly fighter, but he's undefeated, and he just drags people into deep water and drowns them. Shout out Nick Diaz Army, by the way. He fights out of their camp in Cali.
Sounds just like.
Yes, exactly. So, he's fighting Andre Petroski. If you don't know, he fought on the Ultimate Fighter last year. He's done well in his 2 fights in the UFC, but he doesn't have a very good gas tank, and Maximov goes for days and days and days. So I think the longer this goes, it sways exponentially into Maximov's favor more than a -380. So over 1.5. I didn't want to necessarily go with a decision because I could see him getting a late KO TKO on the ground or even a late submission. So Maximov to win over 1.5 -175. I got to say that's the one I'm most confident with this week.
For me, it's got to be Caitlin Chukagian by decision. I mean, she's got the.
That was my first ever bet on the nosebleeds back in the day.
She's got the record for the most decision wins. Is it in all the UFC? Is it just overall?
Definitely in women's, but probably all.
For her to win by decisions +110, I mean, it's plus money. It's just like when I say this is the female version of Andre Arlovsky by decision at this point. Now, I will admit, Amanda Hiva is a better opponent than some of her previous Chukagian and his opponents, but I just think it's a tough matchup for Amanda Hivas. I mean, Chukagian is just a lot bigger than her, and Hivas isn't exactly like Andrade, who has like lethal power.
Right.
That's just Amanda Hivas. I will admit, with the long limbs of Chukagian, perhaps a submission scares me a little bit, but I'm going to stick to my guns here. Caitlin Chukagian, that new contract, maybe trying to look to make another run for a title, gets to win by decision +110.
Yeah, I like that.
So, Dominic, you do have a couple more singles here, so why don't you go ahead and just unload the clip right now?
Yeah, for those that are on audio, I guess they can't see this, but guys, the rest of mine, Ryan Spann, money line +180. Couldn't believe this line.
I am kind of surprised by it. I didn't even notice it, Dominic, because I was so not like this fight, Spann and Kudalaba. I'm just like, I don't know where to go with that. So I skipped over it.
Yeah.
But then when you sent me your picks, I was like, wait a minute, he's +180.
I couldn't believe it. There have been a couple lines like that we've had on this show. Granted, I've not had success with all of them, but this one, I can't not take the chance when there's that much value on someone that I feel like should this fight be anything more than a pick'em essentially? Like, it's not like both guys are riding a bunch of momentum. Both guys are finishers, but Ryan Spann, I believe, has more ways to finish this fight. He has a ton of submissions, a ton of knockouts. Even if it goes the distance, I could see him having the better over Kudalaba. At +180, I'm always willing to take a risk when I feel a fight should be close to even money. So Ryan Spann money line, Alexander Rakic in the main event by KO, TKO, DQ, or decision. It's a double chance winning method for those, again, that are new to our bets. It was a minus 175. I think there's good value there. He's a minus 195 at money line. No, and I don't like to play money lines if they're more than 200, so I still could have there. But, let's just knock it down a little. I think if he gets a submission, I'm going to be super pissed off. I'll put it that way. But, yeah, those are the rest of my singles.
Could you imagine he pulled up a submission?
I'll just quit forever.
Man, yeah. I have two more singles here. That co-main event, I'm not confident in picking a winner. But for Ryan Spann and Jan Kudalava, I'm pretty confident this fight will go under the 1.5 rounds.
Yeah.
That's at
minus 140.
Minus 140. Sorry, I passed over it on my sheet here. Minus 140 are the odds for that one. I mean, you just look at these guys. I don't have the exact numbers, but their finishing rates are in like the 90%.
Yeah.
And their rates of being finished in their losses
are high as well.
High.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's going to be early. I just think these two guys are very explosive out the gate. They very much they take risks. They go straight to the fire. Kudalava especially, he's like he's a wild man. So he just comes out there doing some crazy shit. So I think someone's going to fall early here. And last one, Michael Johnson money line. Damn it!
I love it. Minus
155. I know he's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's 19-17 overall in his career. But damn it, Michael Johnson is the worst best fighter ever.
There's no better way to put it. No better way.
For a guy that has the resume that he has, and some would call it underachieving. I would call it bad luck mixed with just, I don't know, a big discrepancy in how he shows up from fight to fight.
Yeah.
He's just not always on 100,
Yeah.
But he was when he beat Tony Ferguson, when he beat Dustin Poirier.
Right.
When he beat Edson Barboza. Need I say more? He's fighting Alan Patrick here. Patrick does not have very good striking. He does have good wrestling. He does have good top control. Doesn't do a lot of damage on top.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson does have a terrible bottom game. So I am kind of nervous about that. But I think the most likely outcome is that Johnson kind of pieces this guy up on the feet for the greater 2.5 rounds. Maybe gets a late finish. Maybe goes to a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Johnson, even in his losses, like you look at some of these losses, I mean, like Josh Emmett, who, is riding a huge wave right now. Josh Emmett got that crazy knockout of him a couple years ago in round 3. If nobody remembers, but Michael Johnson was dominating that fight for the entire 3 rounds. And now look at what Josh Emmett's doing. Then you have I forget who it was. Was it Thiago Moises? Yeah, Thiago Moises put him on knee bar or heel hooked him, whatever it was. That first round, Michael Johnson won that round, in my opinion. So because of that, I'm buying in that there's still a little bit left here for Michael Johnson. He also didn't look too bad in that there was that really good decision fight he lost. Was that the Clay Guida?
He did fight Clay Guida, yes.
That was a really good fight. I remember kind of thinking he might win that one. He didn't. But, I think Patrick is a step below these guys that I'm talking about. And because of that, I think he's got one more left in him. And he's going to be here winning me some money, damn it.
While we're talking about Michael, before we move into the parlays, I had to bring this up because I saw it on Twitter today. There's a picture of Michael Johnson because it's his fight week, and someone said, Michael Johnson, the type of guy that go win the title from Oliveira, then lose in his first defense to Clay Guida. And I cracked up, dude. This is the guy that's beaten Tony Ferguson, beaten Dustin Poirier, but he'll lose to the worst fighter in the division. It's so crazy the career that he's had, dude.
It's actually unfortunate, but also it's just such a unicorn of a career that I'm just impressed by it.
Yeah.
Now for the parlays, Dominic. Me and you, we love us some parlays, right? And,
we shouldn't, but we do.
We should. We're not good at them, but we like them. So I'm going to go first here. I let you go first for the singles, so I'm hogging the shine this time.
That's fine.
We both come in with 2 parlays this week. I took a gap from parlays for a little while.
Yeah, we both were off last week.
I needed a break, right?
Yeah.
I just needed some time. But I'm back, and I think I got some good ones here. My big one, the moneyline parlay, plus 193. This has kind of been the only parlay method I've been somewhat successful with. I would say overall probably net positive on this kind of style of parlay. Just heavy favorites. Like again, you were talking about this earlier. This card is filled with heavy favorites and big underdogs. So because of that, the parlays are kind of essential to getting a lot of value out of some of the low hanging fruit of this card.
Yeah.
So here, Jake Hadley, I talked about him earlier. Alan Nascimento, no slouch, but I think Jake Hadley's got a lot bigger fights in his future.
Yeah.
Davey Grant, I love this fight with Davey Grant.
This is an awesome fight, yes.
I think that Davey Grant, yes, I think he's coming off a loss, actually. He's got losses to like Marlon Vera and Adrian Yanez. Nearly won that fight from Adrian Yanez.
Yeah.
I think he gets a win here via finish, but ultimately I just did the money line on the parlay. But Davey Grant's an absolute warrior. Lastly, Alexander Rakic in the main event. I was tentative. I was a little tentative to even go out on a limb for his main event, but I kept thinking about it. And all I said earlier, I was like, I know a lot of people, like even you talked about this, Dom, were thinking that maybe Jan Blachowicz might wrestle his way to some sort of victory. And
yeah.
I was like, man, just a couple years ago, that was like his biggest weakness. And I'm like, I just have a hard time believing that's going to, the way he fought like Adesanya, I just don't think that works against a guy the size of Alexander Rakic. And
yeah.
all in all, this fight on the feet, you take the age discrepancy, maybe it's catching up to Blachowicz at this point. Rakic right in his prime years, 30 years old. I think he gets to win in this main event, no matter if it's a dull fight or an exciting one. Plus 193 is what the parlay comes to. It's a pretty big one for me. I usually don't go.
That is a big one.
Steep. I tried three legs is about the max that you'll see for me anymore.
Yeah.
And with my second one, I only did 2. This is well, I don't have a name for it, but it's a prop bet parlay.
Yeah.
But both similar props. The first one, Virna Jandiroba, Angela Hill. I have that fight to go to distance. And then Ryan Spann, Jan Kudalava for that fight to not go the distance. So am I going to regret, are we going to regret, I should say, having all these units on that fight like we did with
Miguel Baez?
Hopefully not.
Listen, the worst scenario this week for the below average bet slip is a Jan Kudalaba decision victory.
Oh
that is going to be the kryptonite. Yeah.
Could you imagine? Dominic, you know these last few weeks have been beating me down.
They've been testing you. Yeah.
I got rid of our betting show because maybe partly because of it.
Noah's about to just retire.
I'm telling you, if that happens, I might explode. But Jandiroba, Angela Hill, I mean, I want to put money on that fight to go to a split decision. I mean, come on. I think that's an exciting fight. But both just kind of, they depend on their gas tanks and their output to kind of
durable, man.
Wins. Yeah, very durable, both of them. So I just don't see either one of them really getting a finish unless Virna can maybe get a submission. But Angela Hill never really been finished like that. So I would say if you guys are comfortable doing so, for that fight to go to a split decision, it's probably like plus 600 or something.
Dude, I'm pulling it up real quick.
Like, I'm very much considering dropping at least a little something on it.
Well, we were even talking about that same kind of prop or fight prop with Andrei Arlovsky because he's been in so many split decisions as well, you know. This fight to be won, let me see, to be won by split or majority decision plus 425. If anybody wants to sprinkle,
I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I'm gonna put a full unit on it.
Ooh,
that's for the bet slip. I'm putting that fight to go to a split or majority decision.
I love Savage. I love it.
Because damn it, Angela.
We missed out on the Arlovsky chance to do it.
I'm doing it. Fuck it, man. Dominic wouldn't let me talk about Bellator, so I'm just gonna say fuck it and let it ride.
I love it.
Now, Dominic, your parlays to finish us off here.
Well, shit, my money line I don't even have to talk about. Just subtract Alexander Rakic. So me and Noah are on the same boat here for the parlay. Copy and paste what he said. I actually think Noah said he thinks Davey Grant's going to get a finish. I believe the same thing. Him by finish is minus 125. I think that's really good value. I almost did the same thing as a single. Shit, I might even add that on later. Come Monday, we might have a whole new shit on the paper. But I think both those guys get it done at minus 108, almost plus money. I love that parlay there to bring those down. Those are huge favorites. I think alone Grant's a 300 and Hadley's minus 220. So, and then my parlay, the other one plus 110, another 2-leg. Jandaroba Hill, 2 go the distance as Noah has. And then the second fight is Viviane Araujo and Andrea Lee to also go the distance. Noah said it best earlier when we were previewing it during the rest portion of the episode. I think it's going to be scrappy. I think it's going to be a pretty fun fight, really back and forth and close. But I don't see a finish happening in that one, even with Andrea Lee's finish streak that she's on. I think both are just durable, and that's what it comes down to for those types of parlays. Plus 110, there it is.
Plus, women's fights just over 50%
right
decision rate. So, I mean, that's, if you want to be a sexist pig like me, I'm just kidding. No, that's something as well. But that's going to wrap it up for the below average bet slip. Get rid of that graphic. Put it back.